everyone, and welcome back to Bacon. Also, welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon, Rod's Route, where we're hopefully going to find out soon all these secrets he's keeping that are supposed to be surprises. Rod leads me to the throne room, which is empty at this time of day. He closes the doors behind him, then turns to me with a sigh. So, how much did Sebby tell you? Enough, I think. Yeah, you keep it vague. Lucette, I'm sorry. Before I can react, Rod wraps his arms around me from behind. Well, that's a cute little CG, and you can actually really tell how much he's grown in this one. I mean, you could tell before, but I'm basically trying to say his CG has clearly matured since this last one. Much more than the other characters, which makes sense given he went from 16 to 18. I know that, like, during those years there's a lot of changes, so I appreciate this. That's all I'm saying. I am shocked when he rests his chin on my shoulder. Shocked and then relieved. It is so nice to feel his touch again. I have missed it so much. You guys haven't even, like, hugged or really held hands that much. You had, like, that one date, I think, and that was it. I missed you, Rod. I missed you, too. I shiver at Rod's warm breath against my ear. I spoke to the king today. With father? Yes. I asked him for advice. How appropriate that I went to Ophelia with the same request today. Aha! To my mother. What did she say? That took a long time. I hate that so much. That I needed to be clearer about my feelings. Ah, the king said something similar. He told me I should be more honest, that there was no point in secrecy if it led to mistrust, which is exactly what I was trying to say. Oh. I've been so accustomed to keeping secrets for so long that I think I've forgotten how to tell the truth the right way. Secrets are comfortable. Well, keeping a secret makes me feel safe. There are less expectations, less disappointment if you keep things from people. All I want is to make you proud of me. Everything I've done to make your life better, to make our life better. And these things I'm keeping from you, I promise I've never kept them from you because I don't trust you. I just don't want you to worry about me. Not a good enough excuse, boy. That's impossible, Rod. I'm realizing that now. The way I've been acting is selfish. The king made me see that. Oh, that is such a relief to my system. Oh boy. And I also really appreciate that Rod can actually learn these things, realize what they are, apologize for them, and at this point it's just a matter of showing action. Versus the other guy I'm refusing to name unless absolutely necessary from the last route. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. I step out of Rod's embrace so that I can cup his cheek. Not selfish so much as selfless, I think. All you ever think about is how to make things easier for me. You have to think about taking care of yourself, too. You've told me countless times I don't need to prove myself to be worthy of you, but you're not proud of yourself. All this time, it was so simple. I kept telling Rod he was good enough, but that means nothing if Rod does not believe in himself. Rod looks at me surprised. Then he smiles, a sad smile. You're right. But it's not just about that. I've always wanted to be the best I could be for you because you're you. He gestures at me. You're going to be the Queen of Angiel. You're the Tenebran bearer. You've worked so hard to be where you are, and it's only fair I match your efforts. I made myself a prince to be worthy of Iorica, but it didn't matter because that was never who I was meant to be. But this, you grasped my hand. I wanted to build this reputation for myself. This time, I wanted magic to give me a clean slate, not an advantage. And the secrets? I really did want to surprise you. I don't mind running myself dry if it means improving, especially in the short run. This is nothing, Lucette. I wonder if this is the surprise Sebby was referring to, or if there is more to this than secret sword practices. Rod groans. In the end, the way I handled all of this was very childish. I acknowledge that. I think that's the most mature thing you've said all night. Rod flushes, but before I can say anything, I rise to the tips of my toes to plant a kiss on his cheek. I'm sorry, too. I wish we could have had this conversation earlier. But Rod, I hope you know that I am proud of you. You're the hardest working person I've ever met. I did not fall in love with you for your accomplishments. I fell in love with you because you are who you are. Rod lets out a deep breath. He suddenly looks relaxed, at peace. I wrap my arms around him and lean into his chest. Let us try again. No more secrets? Rod presses a kiss to my forehead. No more secrets. For real this time? He pauses. But surprises are okay, but you're not allowed to run yourself down to the point of exhaustion. Understood? Rod laughs against my hair. Fair enough. This better be one damned good surprise. He tilts my chin up and the two of us share another kiss in the quiet of the throne room. Ooh, going into the next chapter. Yes. Alright. Emily and I emerged from Viorica's store after a 2-hour visit. 2 hours? Well, then again, I get lost in bookstores that long, so... And then some. So... Sebi, who is sitting on Emmeline's shoulder, huffs a sigh as we exit. Finally, I feel like I've had my cheek pinched for hours. Emmeline laughs. It's because Viorica's cousins adore you. Oh, so not only were they visiting and looking around, but they also had a lot of guests over there that were wanting Sebi's attention. Sebi grumbles, but I cannot help but smile. Viorica's child cousins were in the store today when we came to visit. Okay, just making sure I said that right. Viorica has been watching them while their parents were on vacation. I suspect your cousins were a little easier to distract today because Sebi was with us. Emily and I have been trying to take him more places with us lately. Poor baby must be lonely. You enjoyed the attention. You just do not want to admit it. But my poor cheeks! Would you rather have been stuck in Rod's room? I could swear the plush shudders. I guess the kids aren't that bad. Emmeline pats Sebi's head as we make our way into the town plaza. Back when I was Emmeline's personal maid, I came to the town with her... I forgot that that's how this route went, that she was her personal maid. Back when I was Emmeline's personal maid, I came to the town with her frequently. I didn't like going out then, but now I find these little excursions permissible, enjoyable even. Emmeline likes to show me stalls and treat me to her favorite baked goods. So far, my favorite are the candied apples. Aww. Emmeline sighs wistfully. I like that candy apples were included in multiple routes. And is it weird that I kind of hope that becomes her favorite food if it isn't already? I love candy apples. I love specifically chocolate caramel apples. But candied apples are a nice plus too. I love it when Viorica's cousins come to visit. They're adorable. I'm sure they enjoy your company as much as you enjoy theirs. Don't you find them endearing? I shrug. Children are difficult for me to understand. When I was young, I distrusted most children my age because Mother insisted they were trying to use me. And in some routes that were shown, they totally did. I think they appreciate your honesty. Children usually do. Emmeline gives me a teasing smile. It depends. Other children being honest with other children, they don't take seriously, but adults being honest with children, sometimes, maybe. Someday, I think you'll make an excellent mother. It's really dependent on how they were raised. I freeze so suddenly I nearly trip over a passing merchant. What? I put a hand to my mouth, horrified that the word comes out so high-pitched. More than a few townsfolk glance at me curiously. What? Did I say something wrong? I reach out to grasp Emmeline's hand with a grumble, pulling her along with me. When I finally pull us out of the crowds, Emmeline is laughing. I fail to see how that was amusing. You're adorable when you're embarrassed. I just said that I did not understand children. Sebi coughs. Rod seems like he'd be mystified by children too. You don't give Rod enough credit. He's fiercely loyal of those he loves. Emmeline is smiling at me mischievously. I turn away with a sigh. I feel like I've fallen into a trap. No, please go on. I love it when you and Rod gush about each other. Rod gushes about me? You think someday they'll have a child to gush over? Both of you, stop talking. The last thing on my mind right now is children. The more I think about it, the more embarrassed I become. Emmeline must tell from my silence that I am uncomfortable because she shifts the conversation to herself. Someday, I would like to have a family of my own. I can totally imagine Emmeline with like 6 kids. Easily. I look at her curious. The last time she was interested in another man. Varg. The masked man was Miss Accomplice. He disappeared after I broke my curse, and we still have been unable to uncover his identity. Emily was heartbroken. She really seemed to want to get to know Varg better. No one can blame you, baby. Since then, she hasn't seemed to connect with anyone else, at least not so far as I'm aware. I know for a fact you'd be an amazing mother. Thank you, Lucette. Someday I hope I'll have the opportunity to have a family, but I'm in no rush. She shakes her head. Speaking of rushing, you and Rod have taken everything very slowly, haven't you? What do you mean? Emily laughs. Well, it took you a while to resolve the most recent issue. You make it sound like we were fighting when the problem was that Rod was being secretive. He is truly a special kind of stubborn. So are you, baby. Sebby sighs dramatically. Welcome to my world, princess. Can you imagine what it was like to listen to an overthinker's thoughts, but know he wasn't ever going to speak them aloud? Rod is so overdramatic. You really do know him best, don't you, Sebby? Of course. I think Sebby should be a relationship counselor. I would be an excellent counselor. The two of us share another laugh as we turn and head back to the palace. Let's see. Lucette, thanks again for accompanying me today. It was my pleasure. Emmeline taps Sebby on the head. Let's go returning to Rod's room, shall we? Back to the dungeon. Emmeline laughs. Poor baby. We'll see you later, Lucette. Good night, princess. On my way back to my room, I see Father. He is heading for my door when he stops, noticing me. Ah, there you go, Lucette. How was today's outing? I wonder why they switched to golds. I don't 100% understand, royalty or anything like that. Is it like a seasonal thing? Or is it like a year-long thing that they change every year, I wonder? But the golds do suit him and Ophelia really well, though. I am curiously. It is rare for him to seek me out. Oh, that's right. In this route, they don't really have a relationship. Mostly. It was fine. Bayerica's child cousins were visiting. Emmeline talks at length about how endearing she finds them. I suppose. Can you spare a few minutes, Lucette? My curiosity sharpens to wariness. Of course. Then, shall we walk? He offers his arm, and I set my hand on the crook of his elbow. The two of us begin to wander the corridors, which are thankfully quiet at this time of day. So, I hear you and Rod have resolved things. Yes, finally. I glance at him. He told me he sought you out for advice. Father smiles. He almost looks relieved. I am glad he came to me for advice. I could tell something was amiss. I'm glad he spoke with you. It seemed to clear things up for him. It can be extremely difficult to discern one's feelings when it comes to love. It is a complicated thing. That is why it is so important to self-reflect on your feelings, but also on your loved ones. Father pauses to look at me. It is good to see you smiling again, Lucette. I know this long-distance relationship has been difficult for you, but if you ever need advice, I know what it is like to court someone outside the noble circle. You and Ophelia are an inspiration. My father laughs. I can say the same about you and Rod. You have sacrificed much to be here. I know Rod has, but have I? It is as if Father can read my mind. He reaches out and to cup my cheek. You've come a long, long way, Lucette. More than any of us, I believe. It is no easy thing, learning to trust after being taught to not rely on others. My father falters. I am sorry I cannot teach you that sooner. Every day I'm grateful you decide to give me another chance to make things right between us. My heart twinges. Of course, You both pause at the sound of footsteps. I expect a servant, and I'm surprised to see Rod instead. He looks just as surprised to see us. Am I interrupting something? Of course not. My father presses a brief kiss to the top of my head. Good night, Lucette. Until next time. Good night, Father. Father dips his head in Rod's direction before walking off. Rod leans down to kiss my cheek as he approaches. How was the outing? It was pleasant. I give him a look. What about your day? You've been resting, I hope? After we had that conversation the other day, Rod and I discussed the necessity of taking breaks. Naps are an essential part of every day. I look him over now, relieved to see the dark circles under his eyes are faded and that, for the first time in a long time, he looks relaxed. I did. Mother tried to convince me to take the whole week off even. She set out to treat myself. He sighs. My birthday is one day. I don't need a whole week. What? I stare at him. It occurs to me I've never celebrated Rod's birthday with him, that he has never even mentioned it before. Rod looks taken aback. Uh-oh. Did you reveal something, sir? I shouldn't have mentioned it. I never do anything for my birthday. I don't... What do you want? I step toward him. Rod looks unnerved. I don't want anything. Having you is enough. Aw. Nonsense. Rod runs a hand through his hair and groans. You really don't need to get me anything, Lucette, but... He blushes. I would love any gift you buy me. Oh, you cute baby. Anything? I cannot get him just anything. I have to make sure that this is the best birthday gift he's ever received. Look at these two little sundeers. I'll come up with something meaningful. I must. Rod coughs awkwardly. They're so dramatic, too. Anyway, we were talking about you. How were Viorica and her cousins? It occurs to me that it has been a while since Rod visited her. Sometimes I think about how strange it is that the reason he came to be here in the first place is because he wanted to impress her. So much has changed since then. All of us have found happiness in unexpected places and people. I smile. They were well. Viorica is always so lively when the children are around, and Sebi was very good at distracting them while we all spoke. Rod snorts. Sebi is a good distraction. I look at him curious. Have you visited her recently? I have, and wouldn't stop pestering me until I did. He glances up at the night sky, and the moon illuminates the melancholy in his eyes. You're right. She is more lively. I'm happy for her and her husband. Unthinkingly, I reach out to grab his hand. After a few moments, Rod leans into me. Strange, isn't it, how quickly time passes? Viorica's been married for a while now. I can feel his eyes on me. If we married someday, what kind of wedding would you want? My cheeks warm at his question. This is the first time he's ever mentioned marriage. Well, and unfortunately for everyone, I'm going to go ahead and stop things here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am Bacon, and this so far has been Cinderella Phenomenon, Rod's Route. If you liked the video, feel free to like the video, and if you liked me, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that lovely stuff, and be sure to request any other games you'd like me to try to play. Don't forget that I only have 4 more routes after this, and though each of these routes will still take a while, if there's any dating sims you guys want me to play after this, go ahead and be leaving requests for that. I mean, I've already got a ton of dating sims that I can go through, but who actually wants to see what? If it's on Steam, there's no reason I can't play it, so let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!